And then subjugation is like the pact with the devil. And there's a lot of people who misunderstand this. They think if you sell your soul to the devil, you can never get it back.
That's
And
correct.
that's not true though.
No, it is not true at all. In fact, as I mentioned, technically speaking, demons can't enter into a contract or
Right.
because
They got no
pacts.
rights. Error has
They
no
got no.
rights.
They got yeah. Because I go into it, there's essentially three reasons: A, they got no rights. B, they all of the moralists always said you had to have a body in order to enter into a contract, and the reason being is because you have to have a body in order to fulfill the terms of the contract. Well, they don't have a body, so they can't fulfill the terms of the contract. Although I do tell people you can vote now without having a body, because you can be dead and vote. So, but in fact, I don't know if you've seen that meme going out. This woman's like, "Look, when I die, make sure I don't vote Democrat." But, uh, but it is so and then the third part about it is that in order to enter into a contract, you have to be able to fulfill the terms of the contract. Well, demons can't guarantee that. There are instances where they can. They have been able to, and God permits them, such as the case of John Lennon. But then there were other times, like I've had cases where people entered into a pact with the devil, they became possessed, and then but the demons were not permitted by God to fulfill the terms of the contract. So that's why, and so that being the case, technically speaking, all you have to do is make a volitional choice to step out from underneath the pact, and boom, it's no longer in effect. In fact, it only remains in effect as long as the human agent continues to will it to be in effect. Because that's once he says no, well, then it's not in effect. However, I tell people, okay, so stepping out from underneath the contract is one thing, or the pact, because it's not a true pact, but the effects might take a while to clean up because you've let the demon into your life, and now that he's gotten into those other areas of your life, it's going to take a while to clean him up out of that. But as far as it's not like getting your soul back. You just have to say, I renounce this pact. I have nothing to do with it, and then boom, that's it.
Yep. Now you just mentioned John Lennon, and I
Yeah.
heard you say that before. So I did a little research, and you're right, Father. I looked into it.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story about John Lennon and his possession?
Yeah, I mean, what I've read, I mean, I can't guarantee because I only read it on the internet, and you know what that means. Um, but basically, John Lennon made a pact with the devil, and basically, the devil told him 20 years, and then he was shot 20 years to the week, which I think you were the one who mentioned last time we were together. That was actually on, was it December 8th,
Eighth,
right?
the Feast of the Immaculate
8th,
Conception.
Conception.
John Lennon was shot on the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. That's right.
Yeah, and the guy that shot him had met him actually like the couple of days before, and then apparently they said the guy that shot him said, I don't know what happened, I just literally went out of my mind, and so basically it was I don't know if that guy was possessed. We do have a phenomenon which we call temporary possession, which I do talk about in the priest's version. So it could have been a case of that, but yeah, I mean, he was one of those cases where it was fulfilled. I did have one case where the guy was made a pact with the devil, became possessed. I said, well, what was the pact for? And he said, I'd become rich and famous. And he says, well, did you become rich and famous? He's like, no. I said, well, that'll learn you, right?
Yeah.
Although I must admit, sometimes you see this stuff on these movies, and I just die laughing. Like I'm sure I don't know if you ever watched the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where the guy is like, yeah, I sold my soul to the devil, and the guy's like, you sold your soul to the devil? Yeah, I figured I wasn't using it, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting on that December 8th because there down here in Texas, there's a super popular metal band called
Mm,
Pantera, and their famous guitar player allegedly sold his soul to the devil, and his
yeah.
name was Dimebag Darrell. Anybody in the chat remember Dimebag Darrell? Anyway, he also was murdered, I believe, on stage by a fan on
Mm,
December 8th.
yeah.
Same day that John Lennon was murdered by a fan, and both allegedly sold their or made a pact with the devil.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange that that both would be killed. Both makes a pact with the devil for musical talent. Both get
Right.
musical talent, and then are killed by fans on December 8th, the feast of Our Lady. I mean, are demons choosing that to mock Our Lady? I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's two cases with
Yeah.
similarities in both.
It would be interesting to do a study along that line of how many people have made a pact with the devil that openly. So, and some of the people we actually know were possessed. Like Jimi Hendrix would talk about how he was basically possessed on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, even some of the more modern um, artists have openly talked about. That's not them on stage, right? But that all being said, it'd be interesting to see what the Pacts of the Devil, how many of these, what the patterns were. Was it a Marian feast that these pacts would come to an end, and I do know that of the ones that I have studied, their end is always very untimely or not pleasant.
Right. Well, especially if you sold your soul for fame, as in the case of
Yeah.
John Lennon or Dimebag Darrell, and then the devil allows you to be or inspire someone of your fans. You want
Yeah.
fame, you want to be famous, you want to have fans, and then a fan kills you.
Yeah. It's the punishment fits the crime,
I
so
mean,
to
it's
speak.
horrible.